What's going on, people? Welcome back to a brand new video, and today I'm going to be showing you a mentality that apparently everyone's scared to play with, but it absolutely cooks. It is going to be more of a defensive masterclass today, a tactic I've been seeing highly requested. Josh, not always attacking, smaller teams, defensive masterclass. I have got you covered, and trust me, we're going to learn something today. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and once again, if you do enjoy the tactics, you want to get all of my tactics from the whole year, you can check out the Patreon, the link below, where there's probably over 100 all at your access, so definitely go over and check it out. Let's roll. First up, I give this defensive masterclass a bit of a test and went in with Newcastle with the aim of trying to get in a roundabout second place. Now, we have come in and won the league by 1 point. It was not the most elegant season, and I will say you're not going to go and score 6 goals a game with this tactic. This is designed on the more defensive side of the game and to show you that you can use those more defensive mentalities and not worry about them. People seem to be scared to use them. Now, we also do get to the final of the Carabao Cup, as you can see, where it was a very close game, and we actually beat ourselves with Burnley, so that's a little spoiler for the upcoming sort of part of the video. The semi-finals against Liverpool, still a very good display, and the actual Premier League again, we are still going to manage to get top goal scorer. Now, we do have an immaculate striker, but it goes to show that this tactic isn't all negative. We can go forward, get assists and get goals, but defensively, we are going to be solid with the fewest conceded and joint with Arsenal in the most clean sheets, the most dribbles, the most shots, the fewest shots against, and the most goals. It is a lethal counter-attacking system inspired by Simone, to be honest. Not the real shape of Simone, but the mentality. Now, the data hub we are going to go and look at it is going to be like this. 2.68 goals per game, so no, it's not going to be 4 goals, but only 0.5 conceded. A great pass completion, a very good tackle win ratio, and the shots per game looking very good for a, let's just say, not that attacking tactic. And a defensive masterclass tactic needs to be able to beat big teams, so here's a little example of what we can do. We are going to go through there inside of 3 minutes and make it 1-0 against Arsenal. Just after half-time, Bruno steps and he's going to strike into the top right-hand corner to make it 2. It's then going to be Trippier with a ball in. Botman is going to make it 3, and now we've got time for a 4th goal, the destruction of the Gunners. Botman goes alone. Beautiful. Then we take a quick plane over to Italy, and this was a real test because Bologna are predicted like 7th or 8th, I believe. Now, I will say in terms of the Italian Cup, it's a decent performance in the semi-final. To get there, Inter Milan are probably a little bit too tough to beat, but although in the league we do get the job done and we do not have any top goal scorers, and this is where the defensive side really comes in. So you are going to see our assisters joint second. We've got a great average rating between us, and our goalkeeper picks up the most clean sheets. We do draw 6 games, we lose 3, but still a decent gap over Inter Milan. And as you can see from the stats, our defensive record is exactly what lifted us that Serie A title. The most dribbles, the most goals, the most shots. Possession-wise, we're not going to be in there. I'm not fussed about possession. We don't need possession. We're great when it comes to defending, and we can counter and score goals. And that's exactly what the data hub is going to show. 2.39 goals a game, 0.45 conceded, 18 shots a match, and immaculate pass completion, and I believe it even slightly higher tackle win ratio. I think today we're actually going to play a game. It is going to be the Conference League final, Europa Conference League final, against Athens as Bologna, and we'll see what we can do. Now, I want to showcase this as well, because you can actually see when I change to different mentalities, if we need to do so, and how I sort of dictate a game. And the best way you can do this as well is to come over to the live streams, because we are streaming every game, and we're having a great time. So make sure you're coming on over and getting involved, because it's the best place to actually see me play Football Manager live. But I will say, to be fair, so far this game, now I'm not expecting a 4 or 5 goal thriller in this game. I just want to get over the line and showcase how good we are defensively. And as you can see, a little counter attack there, and this is where I get quite confident, because we're 1-0 up in 5 minutes, and I know it is against Athens, but realistically, it still is a team which we have to beat. The famous words of I forgot, but you can only beat who's in front of you, and at the moment, if we go 2-0 up, it might be all she wrote, because when we go a couple of goals up with this tactic, there is no hope for anyone. And as you can see, a ball in the box, an unlucky header there. Athens, by the way, have got a couple of decent players, Anthony Martial being one of them, and that's a great ball in, and hopefully another little little goal, and it's close, but no cigar there. This game here, though, you look at the stats, you look at what's going on, and, I mean, possession's a factor that I didn't even really talk about. We don't have a lot of the ball, but in the games which you should be having possession, we don't fall apart, and, I mean, that's as beautiful as a tiki-taka goal you're ever going to see. It's absolutely beautiful in a tactic which you wouldn't expect that sort of goal to come from. It's really, really good to see. 57% of the ball, we're dominating literally everyone you can imagine, and it just goes to show this little shape we've got going on here. It's a famous 4-4-1-1. As you can see, they've got a couple of good players, but they're simply not getting over the line, and as you can see, this might be all she wrote for the first half. This has been a dominant first half, and I think, unless this could be even worse for them, nearly even worse for them, but defensively, you can see how solid we are at the back. We've got tons of players back. There's nothing they can do. Look at how many people we've got to potentially win that header. And when we build up, we commit. We commit in numbers. Always an option to pass back to. The Sumi, awful challenge there, but we ride through it anyway. Loads of options on the ball, a great through ball, and that was a very ambitious strike. Considering he's not on shoot more often, I'll tell you that is definitely a little bit of confidence. A ball in here, a great collection, and I reckon that could be, hopefully, everything before half-time, because I'll take a 2-0 lead. Right into the second half, and a highlight literally 4 minutes after, and I thought they were going to get an attack there, but we win it back so well, and now it's our turn, over the top, don't be afraid, and it's a great save. And I tell you what, whenever we counter-attack with this tactic, I know something can happen, and that's how I know I've created a good tactic, because I know there's firepower, I know we can defend well, and unless they score a miracle free kick, I can't see them scoring. They have got a corner here, though, so maybe it could be an opportunity. Set pieces could be a way into the game for them, and it might be actually. It's an awful strike, and luckily for us, we stay ahead with a highlight, by the way. So we'll see how we are playing out from the back, and so far, so good. I mean, the passing has been so good today. As you can see, so composed on the ball. Okay, let the commentator's curse comes in. From the back, we are definitely composed, but Pabega could do with a few passer lessons, potentially. At the moment, though, this game looks pretty set. I mean, unless something happens here, it's good build-up, to be fair to them. I'm not going to, you know, be biased and say they're not playing good football, because they really are, but they need to stop the pop shots. Highlight for us now in the 65th minute, and it is going to be Pabega. Martial winning it back at left-back, bless him, trying to do anything to get the ball, I think. Posh over the top, and now that's more of a match engine issue, I think, because the players just completely froze. It's an easy goal, a cheap goal, and I think it's safe to say that Athens aren't even going to walk away with definitely not a trophy, and maybe not even a goal. That is exactly what is going to happen. We are going to be your Europa Conference League winners. Absolutely love it, and that is a game played live. If you do like that, by the way, let me know in the comments. Some people do, some people don't, but for me, it's sometimes quite nice. Last test is going to be with the mighty Burnley. When you think of a defensive team, I usually go to Atletico Madrid or Burnley, and we are going to do, actually, a treble, technically, of some form. The FA Cup wasn't that great, although we did play Newcastle, again ourselves. The Friendly Cup, we are going to win 3-0 over Gijon. We're going to win the Championship, actually invincible. So that is one hell of a season. Although it is nearly 10 draws, I still am going to count it. And as you can see, our players really did turn up for the big time. And defensively, we were absolutely rock solid. Now, we are one of the better teams in the Championship. That has to be said. But I will say, in terms of stats, that isn't the only reason. It is a solid tactic, and the players, they moulded to it like absolute glue. The data hub is going to also look like this: 2.65, 0.3 conceded, and 19.22 shots per game, and the actual best pass completion and tackle win ratio we've had. One of the more funny games you'll ever see in Football Manager, because we obviously played ourselves here, and Newcastle do go 1-0 up inside of 4 minutes. But look at this. If you ever think you've been FM'd, look at this. It's going to be a penalty to get back into the game, 1-1 before half-time, and then a penalty to win it. It's the Burnley way. But now, of course, over to your favourite part of the video, the tactic breakdown. If you are enjoying back home, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And if you do want to check out any rebuilds and Let's Plays, do come over to the second channel, Daily Josh, in the description below, where we've got a brand new editor, and he's absolutely cooking some of the best rebuilds you'll see. We're having a great time, so I hope to see a load of those beautiful faces over there. But to make this tactic, for starters, we're going to simply select a Gegenpress, and just for ease, we're going to select a 4-2-4, and we'll drag in the positions. can see where we've dragged the positions. You also want to change the mentality all the way down to cautious. Do not be afraid to use this mentality because it absolutely cooks. Now, going over to the goalkeeper, we are going to go instantly with a sweeper keeper who is going to be on defend. It's a defensive tactic. We are not going to be taking any wild sort of mad things going on from the goalkeeper. I don't want him rushing out. Although he's a sweeper keeper, he can do it occasionally. I'm not looking for a Pickford or a Manuel Neuer. We are then going to go to the wing back on the right, who actually is going to be on support, and he's going to have a couple of instructions. The first one is going to be get those crosses aimed at the centre, because with no harm in hitting the advanced forward, it works really, really well, and if you can feed him, he is going to score goals. Going over to the two centre-backs, you may be expecting to not see these, but we are going to operate with two ball-playing defenders, because although it is a defensive tactic, we're not just going to be brick walls who can't have any footballing ability. We are also going to hit tackle harder on the right-hand side, and you can probably guess we're going to replicate it on the left-hand side as well. Now, the wing-back on the left is also going to be set to support, and to make it simple and to make it pretty basic, he's going to therefore have the same instructions: cross aim centre and also tackle harder. I do want to quickly say, if you want to save yourself a bunch of time and get access to all three of today's tactics and get them on Xbox, PS, mobile, get all of my rebuild files, access to monthly giveaways, this month's being £500, one-on-one tactical help, exclusive perks as well. You can come and check out the Patreon, where we've got a team of close to 5,000 people that are loving the rewards on a day-to-day basis. Every day, a piece of exclusive content. No one else is doing it. We're absolutely having a great time. Be sure to head over there and check it out in the description. Going over to the midfield, we are going to operate with a very, very unlikely role, some people might think. It is going to be a volante who is going to come in on support, and he's going to have a couple of instructions consistent of take more passing risks, moving into the channels, and also tackling harder. Now, this is a player who you could swap out for another DM if you want to go more defensive. In fact, we do that in a defensive variant, but for the default variant, we are simply going to leave it in that position. Next to him, we are going to operate with a DM who is going to come in on support on the left, and in my opinion, I would not replace this with any other role. You need one player in there who is going to be sitting quite deep and simply just defending. And nice and basic, tackle harder. So a very simple instruction, one which you can't really get wrong. He does it very, very well. Sits deep, defends. You can't really ask for much more. We are then going to operate with a winger on the right-hand side, who is simply going to be set to support, and he's going to be told to cut inside with the ball, get further forwards, and also tackle harder. So the idea behind this is to have a winger who is going to still defend, but obviously also get forward. We need that not only on the right, but also on the left-hand side. So therefore, cut inside once again, get forwards, and also tackle harder. Do not be afraid to use this instruction, because at the end of the day, they are going to get forwards and still contribute. They don't have to be on attack. We are then going to operate with my favourite role here, and that is going to be a shadow striker. Those of you that have been watching Match of the Delay, you'll recognise this tactic already. And that is going to be set to roam from position and also tackle harder. And lastly, the advanced forward coming in purely on tackle harder. That is what we like to see. Going over to the team instructions, we are going to go right in, again, cautious on that gegenpress, all the way down to narrow to compress the team, focus down the left and the right, a lot of wide play being provided, play out from the back, mixed crosses are our favourite today, run at defence, we are a bit of a counter-attacking team, a shorter passing style, a higher tempo is crucial to keep the sort of pace up in transition, distribute quickly, we are quite attacking to be fair, counter press, play to anyone across the back line while rolling that wonderful ball out. And lastly, we are going to operate with a high press, not a much higher, but a higher defensive line, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, and a maxed out trigger press. Now to the attacking tactic. Now, to go over to the attacking tactic, it is still going to be based around the same thing, but obviously more attacking. So the goalkeeper does remain the same, as does both of the ball-playing defenders. The wing-backs, however, do get a bit of a buff. They are now going to be set to cross-aim centre, dribble more, run wide, stay wider, and tackle harder, the Magic 5. Midfield, the Volantes also get both introduced a little bit of attack and mindset. On the left of Volante, on get further forwards and tackle harder. On the right, take more risks, move into the channels, and also tackle harder. The winger on the right and on the left, both on attack now, which adds a ton of instructions. Tackle harder and cut inside are the additional two. A shadow striker on attack, on roam, and tackle harder. And the advanced forward, again, simply on tackle harder right there. This is what I like to call a buffed up version that was probably designed for if you do go a goal down, you can easily get back in the game. I've done it on Match of the Delay. It works online as well, by the way. way, and it is a ton of fun. It really is. This one, however, is on a balance mentality, so one up from cautious. We are still going to keep the same width. We are still going to keep the same DNA in terms of everything here, down to shorter, still the higher, but the one big change is be more expressive alongside a run at defence. Just allowing those players to be a little bit more open-minded and let them attack. In transition, it is literally going to be the same, so counter press counter, distribute quickly, play to anyone across the back line, and simply roll the ball out. And lastly, out of possession, we are going to deploy the high press with the higher line. We've still got that higher line, prevent short goal distribution, and a maxed out trigger press. Now, if you are really struggling for a goal, and I mean really, you could go up to a much higher line and you'd still be golden. Let's go over to the defensive tactic to defend those games out that you might have just got back into. So this is perfect for a really, really low down team or to purely seal a game out with. And that's where this comes in. Now, I will say this is incredibly defensive, and I would actually advise that it's more tailored to actually seal a game out with. But if you are playing as a really small team and you're playing a really big team, it's also very usable. So the goalkeeper remains the same, the ball players also remain the same, the wing backs don't, both on defend, both on tackle harder, and also mark tight, very risk free. 2 DMs come in there, both on support, both on tackle harder. 2 defensive wingers. Now, if you can't have them, it's a very niche role. If you've got no one that can play it, you could also use wingers and it would be fine. But just having that extra layer of support, works really well. The shadow striker, he goes home. An attacking midfield player comes in, get further forwards, roam, move into the channels, and also tackle harder. The advanced forward, again, simply on attack, and of course that wonderful tackle harder. We are now going to go into some of the team instructions, and we are going to go exactly the same, nice and narrow. Pass into space is a little bit more direct, this version. Play out from the back is also going to be part of the game plan, because then we can pick up the ball, play it into the space, nice and simple. If you don't have players with good passing, if you're playing as a really, really small team, I would recommend probably not having this on, because they are going to be more risky with their passes. We are also going to have run at defence. The tempo remains in the middle, but we are going to have the passing one up to more direct, which makes that a standard tempo. If you are using this to seal out a game with and not going into a game, I would also recommend having time wasting set to frequently. In transition, we're going to regroup and then counter. You're probably expecting to see that, and play to anyone across the back line while rolling that ball out. And lastly, out of possession, this is where it changes a lot. We are going to go with a lower defensive line, stay on feet, and leave it in the middle. And that's going to give you, boys and girls, not 1, not 2, but 3 versions of this absolute cautious mentality masterclass. Do not be afraid to use it. Do not be afraid. If this video gets 75 likes, I will attempt to make a defensive one which gets the same sort of results. Or do you want to see very defensive? Because I feel like people get pretty nervous. People use positive, maybe attacking. No one uses very defensive or defensive. I don't see it that often. If you have enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Once again, do check out the second channel in the description, because we're pumping out the content there and we're having a great time. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll be seeing you in the next one.